The Catholic Church has been at peak crisis since 2013, when the papacy was occupied by the heretic Bergoglio, alias Francis I. This crisis cannot even be compared to the so-called Avignon captivity, which began with Clement V in 1305 and continued with the dual papacy, beginning with Urban VI in 1378. It culminated in the period of 3 popes, which ended with the Council of Constance from 1414 to 1418. The problem concerning the 3 popes was solved by conciliarism, which was later labeled as heretical and was condemned. The crisis we are undergoing today is even worse than the one that occurred in the 10th century. At that time, the popes were appointed by Theodora, the wife of the senator Theophylact, with her daughters Marozia and Theodora the Younger. Those dark ages were associated with murder and poisoning. But there were no crimes against the faith. Church history shows that unworthy individuals were placed on the papal throne many times. However, unworthy popes neither undermined the dogmas of the Church, nor introduced idolatry, nor abolished God's commandments or objective moral principles, as Bergoglio does. Let us recall, for example, his exhortation Amoris Laetitia. In the past, there was still hope that the election of a new pope would lead to spiritual restoration. An example is the Cluny movement and the subsequent reform. No spiritual revival movement, however, can arise under Bergoglio because it would be nipped in the bud. Today, the papacy is not under the control of the immoral Theodora and her daughters, but of Freemasons, which is far worse. They will not give up their power voluntarily. Francis I will be succeeded by Francis II, then III, and so on. But this is no longer the Church of Christ. It is the synagogue of Satan. There is nothing to wait for anymore. Time is ripe for a legitimate pope to speak out, to give true Catholics a chance to belong to the Church of Christ, which leads to salvation, instead of to the apostate structure, which has enthroned the Pachamama demon and leads through vaccine chipping to the lake of fire. Revelation 19:20. May there be at least one diocesan bishop to give the opportunity and conditions for the residence of an orthodox pope. If there is no such bishop, it only remains for the Orthodox Pope to choose some Orthodox priests, consecrate them bishops, and thus create a structure for the Orthodox Catholic Church. This is a step towards saving the papacy and a means of restoring the Church. Bergoglio, who occupies the papal office illegitimately, will not give in to the Orthodox Pope. In addition, he lives parasitically on many genuine Catholics who have no way out. Today, separation from a heretic will be no schism, but rather salvation, because an orthodox pope is legitimate, while the heretic Bergoglio is illegitimate. So the Church is in a period of sede vacante until an orthodox pope assumes office. According to the Holy Scriptures, Epistle to Galatians chapter 1 verses 8 and 9, as well as the dogmatic bull of Paul IV, Bergoglio is excommunicated from the Church, and because he is a heretic, the believers must not obey him. His adherents, heretics and apostates, have likewise excluded themselves from the Church, so there will be no schism. The Church of Christ is the one that has orthodox doctrine. The anti-church, headed by Bergoglio and his followers, has rejected orthodox doctrine. Every Catholic believer who wants to be saved will have a chance to be in inner unity with the orthodox and legitimate Pope. It will be neither schism nor dual papacy. There will be the Church of Christ, headed by an orthodox Pope, and there will also be the pseudo-church of Antichrist, headed by the one who worships Pachamama and has abandoned the teachings of the Scripture and tradition. The latter is no church. Its members may pretend to be the Catholic Church and call themselves so, but they no longer are. They are headed by liars and deceivers. What are you, many of whom are still true Catholic bishops and priests, waiting for? Bergoglio does not wait. He is in a hurry. He knows that his time is short. He promotes microchip implants in the form of vaccines, has destroyed the foundations of the Church, and issued heretical documents. Remaining under his illegitimate rule means suicide, both spiritual and soon even physical, as part of the population. Dear sincere priests and bishops, pray for the creation of conditions for a legitimate Pope. His residence can be outside the Vatican or even outside Europe. Let us repeat the question: can Bergoglio be succeeded by an Orthodox Pope? The current structure of the Vatican dicasteries and the Masonic rule will not allow this. The solution in this extraordinary situation is as follows: a legitimate Pope outside the apostate Vatican.